Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Um, they are a team that's not being talked about very much right now in free agency because they're not doing anything. And the reason why they're not doing anything is because they are pretty much capped out. Um, and the reason why they are capped out is because they overpay everybody. So, I mean, let's start there. The Cowboys are in they're in a precarious position right now. They had success last season. They had a pretty good year. Um, they had a pretty good draft as well too. But they are in a position to uh, take several steps back this upcoming season. They have overpaid everybody. All the good players on the roster are overpaid. The Amari Cooper trade was a trade that the Cowboys had to make. Um, I know that they like Amari Cooper, but Jerry Jones made him the highest paid wide receiver, I believe, at the time. Um, I think he was the highest paid receiver at the time before DeAndre Hopkins signed the extension in Arizona. So he gave Amari Cooper, I think his annual value was like $20 million a year, um, and he was not worth it. He was not worth that at all. And the Cowboys seen that, so they had to make this trade with the Browns, and they had to trade him away. Um, he is still on the Cowboys books though this season. I think he still has some dead cap money, so he's still on the books for some of his salary this coming season. They had to trade him away. The right tackle La'el Collins, they tried to trade him away, but they ended up releasing him. I think it was on Wednesday where they released him. So two of their better players, had to go because they can't really afford to do anything else. Now, the whole thing with them trading their players away is Ezekiel Elliott's contract. The big money the big money part of his contract is kicking in this year. So I think Zeke is going to be at like 17 or 18 million this season, which is crazy. Um, Zeke is good, but the production has not been there really since his rookie season. He he's a guy. He runs the ball a lot. He has a lot of carries, a lot of touches. So he's taking a lot of hits. So naturally, his body is, not responding as well as it did before. When he was younger and he had fresh legs and he, didn't accumulate all the hits that he does now. The Cowboys really they're gonna have some decisions to make going forward. You know, they're gonna try. They're gonna have to try to get everybody. Um, they're gonna have to try to get everybody on decent contracts going forward. I don't think this overpaying stuff is just not going to. And I know that's been Jerry's style, but it's not conducive to a winning football team. And yes, you're the Cowboys, and yes, you got the star on your helmets and all that stuff. But they need to get everybody on decent contracts. They need to stop resetting the market at every position, because that's pretty much what it's come down to. They're resetting the market at every position. When Zeke, he held out a couple years ago and he got paid. They reset the market with him. Dak Prescott, he was on the franchise tag. They reset the market with him. Obviously, Amari Cooper, I just mentioned, they are resetting the market for their players who give them good production, but are not. They don't really put it together as far as playoff wins, playoff victories. They just don't do it, and it's not like, I would understand if you are in the Super Bowl bubble every single season, but they haven't been. They have not been able to put it together, and you have guys who play well. They get really big contracts, and then they just become these these overpaid guys who um, don't give you the same amount of production, going forward, years later. And, now you're stuck with them. Now it's either a trade or a cut. And the Cowboys have not been able to do anything in free agency because they have paid everybody too much money. And there are positions where you do have to pay, but you don't need to pay everybody. And everybody doesn't need to get all this money. You should pay your cornerstone positions: quarterback, left tackle, maybe a wide receiver, a cornerback, maybe a defensive end. There's 4 to 5 positions where you're gonna have to pay premium prices for that, but everybody shouldn't be getting overpaid. And I think you're in a position now where you look at the cat. I think just Dak, Zeke, Michael Gallup. Now he just got paid, and Demarcus Lawrence. Just those 4 guys, they take up a good percentage of the cap. I think they're taking up like almost 40% of the cap with just those 4 guys. Um, so the Cowboys are thin. They have to, and they do have good draft personnel. Will McClay is the best, in my opinion, he's the best personnel guy in the league. He found Van Der Esch in the draft. He found Michael Parsons in the draft. He found Dak Prescott, and he's done a good job finding players. Especially the Cowboys can bring in cheap on their first 4 years. But the more good players you bring in, the more money you're gonna have to spend. So it's to a point now where I think the Cowboys have to. They have to. It's a fork in the road moment. They have to decide what they're going to do going forward. And I think, now in this current NFL, you cannot afford to pay everybody. This is not the NFL of the '90s. You can't, George Steinbrenner your way to Super Bowl championships. The roster construction has to be, it has to be good from A to Z. And you can't really, rob Peter to pay Paul, pretty much. And that's pretty much what the Cowboys have been doing. And they have had some good teams, but those teams have lacked, in areas that they need to be good at. Just a couple years ago, the defense wasn't good. Everybody on offense was getting paid. Offense was humming, but defense wasn't good. And then vice versa. Things have happened like that. So there's just, when you pay too many people, you leave too many holes on your team. And the Cowboys have been the perfect example of that. Even in their successful seasons, once they get to the playoffs, whatever their weakness is really shows up, and it shows up on the screen, and everybody can see it. So you kind of have to distribute the money a little bit better. You have to do it a little smarter. And if that means giving shorter contracts, I think that is probably their best solution right now that they can start doing. Instead of these 5-year deals, give these guys 3-year deals. With the same amount of money, but give them 3-year deals. Like if you're the Amari Cooper thing, if they gave Amari Cooper 3 years instead of 5 years, he would have been off the books now. 3 years, $20 million a year, bam, and he's off the books, and they don't have to re-sign him. And but instead they had to trade him away, and they have dead cap money on their books now. I think Amari Cooper's dead cap money is like 6 or 7 million or something this year. So he's still on the Cowboys books for 6 or 7 million, even though he's playing for the Cleveland Browns. He will be playing for the Cleveland Browns. So the Cowboys need to do a better job of that. And I understand, from the business standpoint, a 5-year contract. If a guy is playing really well, you want to have control of him, and going forward, if he does play well throughout the entire contract. But statistics show that a lot of these longer contracts, 4 and 5 years, guys don't really make them through them. Like I think it's like north of 60% of guys that don't make it, through the long contracts. So shorten up the contracts a little bit, and then you don't have those albatrosses of contracts on your books, 4 or 5 years down the line. Like the Zeke contract is really, really going to hurt the Cowboys going forward, because they can't cut him. they can't cut him. His money, his guaranteed money, like really kicks in. Like if they cut him, he's still getting that money. So um, they need to do a better job going forward. I don't think they will. Obviously, that's Jerry's style, and that's the way he's running the Cowboys. They've been successful financially, obviously, but on the field they have underachieved, and I think a lot of it has to do with how the money is distributed. So we'll see if they change anything going forward. I don't think that they will, but it's just funny how everybody's making moves and getting better, and the Cowboys are just staying pat because they can't do anything. And all they can do is restructure contracts and try to free up some space to, maybe sign a few players here and there on some lower money deals. But that's really the beginning and ending of their options right now at this point in free agency. And it sucks for them, but this is the bed that they made. You want to pay everybody. Anybody who plays well for you gets paid, gets a big payday. This is what happens. You can't really get better in free agency, and you have to draft well, and you have to be able to bring guys in who can contribute, and who can be depth pieces off the bench and stuff. And you kind of just have to structure your team that way. But as far as free agency, you can't do anything. So we're at this point now, but I think it's very interesting. I don't see the Cowboys making any more moves. Like I said, maybe here and there, maybe some guys you haven't heard of, maybe some small money deals here, maybe some 1 or 2 year deals going forward. But they don't have a lot of money to spend, and obviously that's what they're not going to do. So it'll be interesting to see going forward, though. We'll see what happens with them. They're still a good team. I do expect them to take some steps back, though. They have lost some key pieces to their on offense and defense. So they've lost some key pieces there. So I do expect them to take some steps back. But they play in the weakest division in football, so they'll be fine. But we'll see what happens going forward. And best of luck to them. So. But that's all I got for today, guys. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Like this video. Consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the comments with any suggestions you might have on other videos to make. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.